it's the worst of every CBC, the show where I watch the CBC, so you don't have to. This is the October 8th version, but it's going to be more of a meta-analysis of the general CBC in the mainstream media, why the CBC needs to be defunded, because they're really just sort of covering last night's debate by just showing clips and showing the leaders at their press conferences today, so there's not a lot for them to really screw up, although we're going to cover how they are kind of screwing up as a general miasma, even when they're sort of not really doing anything. Now, Justin Trudeau is a house of cards, and he could be taken down by a semi-competent media instantaneously. And you see this sort of tonight and last night. And the SNC-Lavalin scandal is the number one. Is probably the prime example of how friendly isn't even the right word to say to Justin Trudeau, but how bought and paid for, sycophantic the media is towards him. So the way they attacked him today, and I thought this was a good attack, is Justin Trudeau said, Andrew Scheer said, basically, you're a liar to Canadians or whatever, and said the Globe and Mail report, which was originally the story of the SNC-Lavalin breaking. And Trudeau said the Globe and Mail report was a lie, Scheer's line, which is an abject lie, because Trudeau himself had accepted the findings of the ethics report, which had found the whole SNC-Lavalin thing to be completely true. Now, a reporter questioned him, basically said this, like, how can you accept the findings of the report, but say the Globe and Mail story is false? And he said, well, I accept responsibility, but I disagree with the conclusions. Right? You don't accept responsibility if you disagree with the conclusions. This is standard communist doublespeak. Like, this is straight out of 1984. However, this isn't really the correct way to go at him. Right? His standard lie is he did all of this to protect Canadian jobs. Alberta is laughing or crying or shooting a hole in their computers right now. So, sorry, Alberta. Now, the whole thing is he created a special law for a corporate lobby that had given him money to his donation, to his personal foundation, and to the Liberal Party. They asked him for a special law. He put the special law in. The special law was going to help them avoid a felony for their dealings in Libya. They would pay a fine, but there's an independent prosecutor. The independent prosecutor said they didn't qualify for the DPA, which was the special law. The Attorney General, who could maybe intervene in this, said, no, I'm not going to intervene in the judiciary. That violates the Canadian Constitution. And that would put you can't have the executive. Can you imagine if Trump controlled the Supreme Court? This is essentially what we're talking about here, but the Canadian version. And the Attorney General said, no, you can't control that. So he fires the Attorney General and then replaces her with a friendly one to try and get this. But then this comes to light, and now there's a bit of a thing over it. So it's a massive, massive scandal. And he said, I will never apologize for trying to protect Canadian jobs. Now, the whole thing is, SNC-Lavalin is a construction or engineering firm, which means the jobs are never at play in the first place. And it only bars them from federal contracts. They still had $12 billion of backdated private contracts to rely on. The SNC-Lavalin themselves said the headquarters was never going to be moved. SNC-Lavalin themselves said the jobs are never in doubt. These are engineering jobs, high-skilled jobs. Again, if they go under, these jobs just go somewhere else to another Canadian engineering firm. Like, these people were not really had their livelihoods at stake. It was the health of the wealthy board and executives who were Trudeau's friends that were at stake. So SNC-Lavalin themselves had said the jobs aren't, like, this has been systematically disproven. So he's lying about his excuse. All it takes is someone to hammer it home, and then the next person up to sort of fall on this is like, SNC-Lavalin has said that the jobs are never at stake in themselves, and this is the excuse you've given. So, Mr. Prime Minister, why do you accept responsibility for SNC-Lavalin knowing that the jobs were never at stake, and that is a lie? The second someone asks him that question and he tries to pay it off, and then the next person asks that, and then people see it, he's done. He's a house of cards. He's out. Right? But this is why the media has not been covering the SNC-Lavalin scandal, because they know it will topple Trudeau. And the Conservatives are sort of buying into the media's rhetoric, where the media's trying to say, oh, it's too stupid. Canadians are too stupid. It's too complicated for people to understand. No, it's not. No, it's not. I just explained it in under a minute. It's pretty easy. He created a special law for a private corporation that was giving him lots of money. He wanted the Attorney General to use the special law. She said they didn't qualify, so he fired the Attorney General, put a new Attorney General to get his friends off the hook so he can still feed them public contracts. How complicated is that? Like, how, like, really? Like, duh. So this is the problem with the wider media, because a lot of them are left-leaning to go into. And then the fact that their livelihood. So even you say there's conservatives on the editorial board. They know, well, if the Liberals go to power, we lose that $600 million. So $600 million can make people's prints. I mean, hell, give me $600 million and I'll start saying, you know what? Jagmeet Singh's economic plans make a lot of sense. Maybe we should try socialism one more time. Maybe just once more. I swear, not everyone will die this time, okay? Everyone has their price. But the problem is, and this is sort of why I do this, is there's a massive gap in sort of conservative policy or rhetoric or just media presence in Canada that the Conservative Party themselves is sort of falling into these traps where they think they have to play these left-wing games. And if you saw the graph Maxime Bernier tweeted out of the engagement Maxime Bernier was getting, like everyone was talking about Maxime Bernier for the first half, and he was just talking about his policies and attacking the left. They're like, who is this guy? What's he talking about? Then we started to attack Andrew Scheer and look a bit petty, like he regressed to the mean. That's what I said. He did great during the first half. Canadians are willing to hear the arguments put forth by a conservative media or put forth by like the real conservative arguments, not the sort of attacking Justin Trudeau from the left of the left of the left, right? These like actual, why mass migration isn't going to work, why we need to reduce foreign aid. Foreign aid, like Canada first is a slogan on foreign aid. The real reason we should reduce foreign aid is because foreign aid doesn't work, usually makes everything worse. Now, there are some instances where there's like specialized foreign aid for, technological investment in certain areas, which I'm actually kind of fine with. If we want to talk about, helping out certain farmers in Ethiopia get certain equipment, okay, direct to, like we can have that conversation, developmental and all that, but just throwing money at countries, throwing money at China and Pakistan, no. So there's a real gap, and the Conservative parties need to do a better job of explaining themselves, not just saying Trudeau bad, actually explaining why tax cuts benefit the economy. This needs to be explained because the media, as you see, will never, ever, ever take our side. So that being said, we should defund the entire media. It shouldn't be state controlled because the Prime Minister, if Trudeau wins again, he's going to control the legislature. He already is the executive. He would control the judiciary, and now he'd control the media. And goodbye, Canada.